Hello everyone, it's Luke here. I am doing a video today. I wanted to share some things that I have been thinking about recently and that I even actually wrote about and have decided to make a video. I've rehearsed this enough today that I've gone from being frantic and almost having a panic attack to being much more calm and being okay with an imperfect presentation. So I think the message is important enough that it's worth an imperfect presentation. So we're gonna go with it. Um, but what I want to share is something that I think will make the world a better place. Your world, my world, um, the lives of our loved ones, and of those around us. And to introduce it, I'll just share a few key words that I'll use quite frequently in the message. And those words are patterns and routines, and scenery and background. Um, so we're all really busy people, right? We have jobs, we have work, school, appointments, families, we have um, dinner to make, groceries to buy, kids to bathe, kids to put to bed, trash to take out. All of these things that we do on a regular basis that keep us busy. And they're all good things, right? Nothing to complain about. We develop patterns and routines in order to accomplish the things that we need to on a daily basis. And patterns and routines are good, but what I want to talk about is what happens sometimes in those patterns and routines. And what happens is we go from human being to human doing. Um, and we're definitely not human doings, but indeed we are human beings. And when we start this path from human beings to human doings, we risk forgetting who we are. Um, and we risk forgetting who each other are. And we do that for the sake of efficiency. Again, I'm not saying that patterns and routines are bad. Um, I just want to bring to awareness the forgetting that can happen when we don't realize we're in those patterns and in those routines. What happens is our life autopilot takes over and our doing overrides our being. Even family members and friends sometimes, even ourselves, we become part of the scenery or the background of our own lives when we get caught up in the patterns. We take on roles. Our family members can take on roles. Our friends do sometimes. And even the person who brings our food out at the restaurant or the person at the checkout stand at the grocery store, right? We call them cashiers, we call them waiters, we call them dentists, we call them librarians. We call them, the other driver, the driver who cut me off. Whoever we associate with, we give them names and roles, and we forget that underneath that they are human beings. They're not human doings. Even though they're doing their job, they're a human being like us. When we get caught up in these patterns and roles, I think that's one reason why time seems to go so quickly, the days, the weeks, the months, and the years, is because we step out of our own lives and we get on this cycle of doing patterns, and time continues to go by, but we aren't present. And once in a while, when we stop and take a look, we think, "Wow, it's already Christmas again. Where has the time gone?" Um, and the exciting part is we can remember. We can remember who we are, and we can remember who each other is. We can step out of those patterns and routines easily, and in any moment and every moment. We can actually take the lead in our lives, and we can step out of the the scenery, into the light of our own breath and existence and experience. How do we do this? The first step is being aware. Think of your relationships, think of your family members, friends, coworkers, the other drivers, and even ourselves, yourself. What patterns do you see that take you to the background, that take you out of the focus of your own life, out of the light of your own life? Identify those patterns. See those patterns themselves as the background, and see you as the foreground, the person who gets to choose to remove those backgrounds and participate again in living and in being. And awareness is being, and something different can only be done when there is being. Choose to do differently from a state of being and awareness rather than perpetuating the forgetting by staying in the patterns and routines and doing the same thing over and over again. Now, once those patterns have been identified, actively choose differently. Step out of the pattern. In relationships, actively choose to have the conversation. For example, say something like, I need to talk to you about this, or I've noticed a pattern coming up in myself or in our relationship, and I want to just talk about it. Step out of the pattern the pattern by having a different conversation. And one can also step out of the general pattern with which one sees the world by seeing every person as yourself. And indeed, that is the case. We are not different. No one is different than anyone else. We each have thoughts, feelings, a sense of humor, however dry it may be, like mine. One has moments of anger, of happiness, sadness, grief. We each have someone or people that we care about. And we each have one person or people who care deeply about us. So think of the person playing the role of the cashier at the grocery store. As he or she is checking out your stuff, like I say to myself, in the name of the person who cares most about you, then I'll start talking out loud. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you being here today. Because you're here, my experience has been successful. And getting beyond the patterns and the patterns of, all right, thanks, have a good day. Things that we hear over and over and over again that are intended to be nice, but aren't memorable because it's a pattern. Stepping into realness and who we are, and recognizing each person as myself, because in truth we're not different from one another. And so with just an invitation to step out of patterns, to step into the foreground of your life, take a lead, and to see others as yourself. And even the driver that cuts you off, or someone who is rude to you, they're probably acting from their patterns, and recognize that. And awareness again is key. And invitation to say inside, in the name of the person who loves you most, and then treat that person accordingly. Do that person who loves them the most a favor by treating this person as they would. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. And I have my notes here, so I appreciate your patience as I referred back to them frequently. But in the name of the person who loves you the most, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being a part of my life. And again, just thank you. Okay, see ya. Make sure I can actually end this. There we go.